everyone, Julian here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about why you should actually be using more loops, presets, and sample packs, and why people are wrong who think that using that stuff is wrong, and also why it's kind of essential and everybody does it because it sounds the best. So, before this video starts, definitely check out my website, electronicsamples.com. Best sounds, samples, presets, and Ableton files in the game for electronic music, all genres, techno, house, and everything else. Links at the top of the description. I'm telling you guys, I put a ton of years into making the best sounds in electronic music, and they're right up there for you. Thanks for the support, everybody. Every little bit helps, and let's dive in. So yeah, there's a lot of hype in the industry about why, if you use samples and loops, it's so bad and all that. Well, the truth is like, nah, because you still have to do something with it, right? Like, it's not enough just to have like these sample packs that are just really good sounding and have the loops available. And you also have to like do something good with it, and that's what people aren't really realizing when they say that. I mean, I saw it because there was the era, maybe when I first started producing, like 2012, 2013, up to about 2015, right, when sample packs were just trash, to be honest with you. Like, I hate to say it if you were making sample packs in that time, but they were complete garbage. Like, it wasn't what it is today, where it's just like high quality sounds ready to go. It was these little tiny kicks, and it was just like a whole nightmare, right? But what I learned was about 2015, Splice happened, and that's when people started getting really, really high quality sounds and getting access to like really good stuff. I remember getting Splice and going, wow, this is, at the time, the best stuff that I've ever heard. The thing is, that didn't exactly change the game, right? There was still plenty of horrible music coming out, even though everybody in the world was having access to some of the best sounds for the first time ever. And not only that, but it was being pushed to them so much, right? Let's not forget how much of ad campaigns, Splice and all those people were doing at that time, even though the whole world was getting the best sounds they've ever had pushed to them. It wasn't like music changed, right? There was just a ton of terrible music made with really good sounds, or like, a lot of very amateur music made with really good sounds. And that's essentially to illustrate my point, is like, it really doesn't matter like that you're using samples and loops, because even the best sounds in the world, if you don't know what you're doing, you can make them sound like garbage, right? But if you do know what you're doing and you start with something and you allow yourself to use these inspiration tools like loops, like presets and stuff, you can go to a level that I just don't think you can do if everything has to be about, I'm making this from scratch and I'm going to spend a whole day making a super saw again, because it's not like there's a million presets that I could use and probably get some cool inspiration from, right? So, yeah, I really think people need to understand that. It's like, this stuff is meant for inspiration, but it's not going to just give you an amazing track. And you always notice that it's people that don't really know what they're talking about with production that think, oh my god, like, just because you use a sample or a loop, you're so bad, right? Because they don't really get it. They never really sat there and gone, okay, I'm going to start from scratch here with the best samples and try to make a track. Because I promise you, if you do, you're going to realize very quickly that it's not really what you think it is. And that's, again, like, everybody acts like, just using a sample or whatever, you're just like stuck to what that is. But again, it's really how you work with it. And you can do so much stuff, but you just don't be afraid to use these tools, man. Like, they have a lot of texture, they have a lot of feeling already baked into them. People such as myself and Electronic Samples have put a lot of time into trying to make this stuff as best as possible. And the other thing too that we got to keep in mind in this era is like, there's so many producers, and there's so much music, and there's so many sample packs that, like, it isn't what it was like when I first started. Like, when I first started, if you used something from a sample pack, there were only a few good sample packs, so everybody probably knew that one and was able to quickly go, wait a second, I've been hearing that every time I flip through Vengeance Club Sounds or whatever, right? But nowadays, because there's so many sample packs, and there's so many songs, and so many producers, like, people can't even follow it, Like, nobody's even really gonna know. Even the people, like, let's say you download a sample pack off Electronic Samples and you use a melody and maybe pitch it or something, and then someone else does. I mean, you guys probably aren't even gonna hear each other's tracks, And you gotta keep that in mind, too. Like, this golden era where everybody's producing that we're in and stuff is actually kind of working to your benefit in that sense, because, yeah, people aren't gonna really just know, like, we all know this one really good pack that only a few people. It just isn't like that anymore. Nobody even can tell. And the other thing you got to think about is, are you making music for producers, or are you making music to be good music and to be for everybody? Because if you get to the point where you're making music for everybody, I mean, ideally 90% of the people or 95% of the people probably aren't even going to be producers. They don't even know what a loop is. You could sit there all day and try to explain to them, oh, so it's, he got the Mark Knight sample pack and he took percussion loop number 5 and put it with drum loop number and bass line. They're going to be like, so? I'm dancing. I don't know what a loop is. It's just such like a moot point. And as soon as you kind of step out of the echo chamber of production, and particularly like producers that kind of have their head up there, you start to realize that none of this stuff matters, man. Just make music that sounds good. And if it happens to sound good because you used a whole stack of loops from a sample pack or whatever, cool. Like, that's fine. It's still good music. I am a professional producer. I promise you, if you make a song right now that is beautiful, that really has like some real feelings in it, and you use loops, I promise you, I will never hate on you. And I really don't think like truly most real producers can tell, I think they just act like it. So all this goes to say is just like, get out of the echo chamber. Stop listening to what people online say. Just make the music that sounds good. If it happens to include loops and presets, awesome. Like, who cares? Life is too short to even put any thought into stuff like that. And yeah, so that's really gonna be it for this one, guys. Just wanted to share my thoughts with this. Thanks for supporting. As always, make sure to check out my samples at the top of the description. electronicsamples.com, best website in the game. I promise you, these sounds really will take your tracks to the next level. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.